Have you ever seen any footage like that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and none of this is meant to make you feel guilty. You know, we're showing this footage to raise awareness for the animals, to bring the truth to the public, because sadly, in this world today, this is hidden from us.
Yeah.
So what sort of footage have you seen before?
Horrible ones, I would say.
Like cows, pigs, chickens?
Yeah.
And when you watch something like that, how did it make you feel? Like, what were you thinking at that moment?
Like I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah.
Is it the same sort of
Yeah,
emotions that get brought up?
I think because you've like grown up around meat and stuff, you try to not think about it, you know. But I mean, you know, it's there and it's sad and it's a bit. How do you say?
I think it's challenging for us as humans to live in this world, to be raised and to be conditioned to contribute to these industries, not because we want to, right? Like, do you eat animals?
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's not coming from a place of judgment. I used to eat tons of animals before, but we're raised in this world to eat animals and to support these industries, not because we're bad people. I don't think you go into the store and say, I want to buy chicken because this is what I want to contribute to. You go in there because that's how you were raised. Those were the tastes that you associated with pleasure and what you loved. And when we start to be faced with the truth, that's when we have that dilemma in our head. I think it's going against our natural instinct. Because do you still think about it when you eat animal products? Do you think about the footage that you watched, or that the animals that have their life before they get to that stage?
I think it's a bit that you try to cut it out, because it's the same with humans. I mean, a lot of humans are suffering in the world too, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah. How do we handle it all, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
How do we make that next step?
Yeah.
And I think that's the toughest part. Have you heard of veganism before?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on being vegan? And I like honesty.
Yeah. I think it should be easier to be vegan, because it feels like it's not. If you want to be, it feels like it's not that easy, because people usually need to walk around just to find a vegan place to eat or stuff. And so I think the world makes it a bit harder too.
It does. Well, look at the world we live in. Look at all the restaurants on all the street corners. Like, veganism isn't the norm yet. We can see it growing all over the world. Veganism is coming up. More vegan restaurants are opening up. Non-vegan restaurants are having vegan options. It's becoming more convenient. But you're right. When I went vegan 4 years ago, it was even more inconvenient to be vegan. What makes veganism easy is allowing yourself to tap into what's into your heart, making that connection and saying, that's my drive, that's my willpower. Then anything's easy. Then it's, now I take the time to research. What am I going to go buy at the store? Where am I going to get all my nutrients from? What industries should I support? What industries shouldn't I support?
I think it's a bit like my brother does it. He's trying to like slowly become it. He's starting to be a bit vegetarian a few days a week. And he's like trying to get there. And I think the world is probably more up for that than to like go from one thing to another, I think.
Because we like convenience.
Yeah.
We don't like things to be hard for us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when we try anything that's becoming a new habit, we like to take gradual steps.
Yeah.
But most habits that we choose to go into, working out, quitting drinking, quitting smoking cigarettes, affects us. Veganism and the lifestyle that we live where we consume animal products doesn't just affect us. It affects animals, it affects the environment, it affects the world. That's why when people say, and especially when someone who's as passionate and as a dedicated vegan activist as I am, I went vegan like this. And it wasn't even for the animals. It was because I wanted to take better care of my health, and I just did a little bit of research, and all I needed to know was the leading cause of death in the world is heart disease, and what causes that? Excess amount of dietary cholesterol. What products have that? Animal products. But what happens is, reducing, people think in their mind when they go, I'm gonna go meatless Monday, I'm gonna go vegan 2 days a week. What that does is it makes it more convenient for you, but it still doesn't make it any less convenient for the animals that we're still consuming, that we're still supporting. That's why I believe that it's even easier to say, I'm gonna be vegan, and now what steps am I gonna take to make sure I'm able to stay vegan? Because finding a why, before you do any new habit, you have to have a why. If you don't want to start exercising, like you don't have a why to start exercising, that's gonna be pretty difficult. If you don't want to quit smoking cigarettes, if you don't have that why, it's gonna be pretty difficult. But in a world today, when we do have an excess amount of options out there, we don't think veganism is easy. But look at the grocery stores. We can stay in the produce section. You know, we know how to eat vegan. If you go out and have a steak meal, what else is on your plate? Potatoes, asparagus, maybe a salad. Yeah, there's probably some dressing that's not vegan, but you get the point. Like, we know how to eat vegan. It's now changing our mindset. It's now changing the way we've been living, which is hard. It is a hard thing to do. I think being vegan's easy. Changing the mindset is hard. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree totally. Yeah.
And it resonates with you. It seems like both of you have been impacted in a way where you're connecting with them. Because would you say or call yourselves animal lovers?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. His dog at home, we're like, oh!
Because I think at the end of the day, it's hard. In the beginning too, when I went vegan, I was looking at the macro, the entire world. How am I gonna like change the world? But then I realized I just need to focus on myself. And what can I do? Because I could be vegan. And then I can work on chatting with my best friend who went vegan and his wife's vegan and just had a vegan baby. And like, we can start with that. Because if you're against animal cruelty, which it seems like you both are, and that resonates with you, and if that's what you believe, then veganism, especially if you're having those reactions, it's normal. And I never like to show this footage to people to make people feel guilty. You already have all the information in here and in here. I'm just here to give more inspiration and motivation to sort of get people to a new stream of consciousness, per se, to help people awaken. And to see that, hey, if we don't need to eat animals, if Olympic gold medalists, ultra marathon runners, cyclists, tennis players, basketball players, rugby players, myself, everyone there, if we can thrive with eating only plants and not causing unnecessary harm to animals and not have to be putting animals in these situations, why wouldn't we all do it?
I think the leading cause of eating animals is laziness. Like going to McDonald's.
It is.
Much easier than to go to the store and buy specific vegetables to get the proteins.
Yeah, and it's really hard too. Like, you come, you stop, you watch slaughterhouse footage, you have a chat about veganism, you're like, oh, what's my mind supposed to think now?
Because exactly, I was at a, like, what do you call it, like a healthy place in Sweden, where you like go for a week and you eat like vegan.
Like a holistic sort of
And
retreat.
they were talking about it. It's so hard to change with it yourself, because you're like, should I be vegan? And it's like, and then you have learned something else. So it's like, what am I doing? It's very hard, because I think it's very imprinted in all of us.
All of that information that went into your head then, all those thoughts you had, everything that I'm telling you, all those thoughts you have, that's literally going against your entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
Mentally, but it's just a conditioning, like you said. But we can break habits, we can break conditioning. We've done so much stuff in the history of this world that used to be seen as normal and legal, and we've changed. And that's how we're seeing. I think in the future, we're gonna look back and say, we used to eat animals. Because if you think about it, what weirded me out the most is that we domesticate some animals to love and to cuddle with and to sleep with, dogs, cats, some birds, and then we put some animals in these horrific environments to eat them. And I think that's what blew my mind the most. And that's when I said, if I was like you at that holistic retreat, you're right to be having these thoughts. Should I be vegan? Because I think we should. Imagine, I'm also very optimistic. Imagine the world we would live in if we were treating our bodies better, which would then make us more positive, more happy. This is what I believe. How that would convey our message to the world. Imagine raising children to not say that this being is different from that being. Imagine how they would be raised in this world. And this is just my belief, I don't know if it's concrete yet, but we can see this happening, that people are, for me, when I became vegan, I started being nicer to my own species. And I started having a lot more compassion within, because I respected some of the most innocent and vulnerable beings on the planet before my own species. I was still not having the respect I needed for some of my own family and friends. But then that sort of changed, and I said, hey, why not give love and compassion and respect to all beings if we don't have to? And if we don't have to, and actually if we can be healthier and happier with eating plants, our body knows what to do when we eat plants. We know what it's like to eat a nice whole food plant-based meals. I'm sure you felt pretty good than when I used to go out and eat a hamburger and ice cream and soda, and I didn't feel 100% after that meal. Now I eat this food that doesn't cause needless harm to animals, and it's impacting so many other aspects of life. And so do you think you could see yourself being vegan in the future?
It might be. It's like with everything, you need to come to like a breaking point. And then I don't know, maybe when ever, like, if you own your own like animal, because I've never done that.
Yes.
We're talking about getting a dog, for example, and probably then it might shift a bit because it's like closer to you, and you're gonna. It's not, like I said now, I think many people like cut it out, like they can't help the world, so they cut that out from their mind. They think they can't help this, so they cut it. So I think you need to like come to a point, and I don't know, I hope I can be.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. Just for you saying that is powerful. Just by saying I hope gives me a lot of love and joy in my heart, because there are so many people in this world that I've done these all around the world, and so many people, you'd be surprised, walk by, have a conversation, and continue to shield it from their vision. Why? They don't want to be confronted with the thought that they might be doing something that's immoral or something that's going against what their heart is saying. I used to hunt. I used to make fun of vegans. You know, I was confronted with this in the beginning, and I tried to make up those excuses. But when you accept, it's sort of a liberating experience when you accept and say, hey, it isn't actually that difficult. Yes, it's rewiring your brain a little bit, but you still get to eat foods. You still can go to vegan restaurants and have your cheat day. I had a double vegan cheeseburger the other day. It wasn't healthy, tasted really good, but you can still have those foods and the stuff that really fills you up with joy, that tastes good, without having to contribute to these industries. But with you saying that there's hope, that gives me hope, because it means that I'm not the vegan police. I can't follow you home, check your internet search records, and check in with you and be like, hey, are you vegan? It's what you choose to do when you leave this conversation is up to you, and I think that's even more powerful. When you could come to your own conclusion and have that tipping point, that breaking point one day, maybe it's this afternoon, maybe it's in 2 months, maybe it's in a year, when you have that, that's going to stick with you. Then you found your why. Then you're like, I'm taking a stand. I don't want to be someone contributing to these industries. I'm going to live a happier, healthy life and not cause unnecessary harm to animals.
Because I mean, it's important to hear everyone out too. Because I mean, the ones at this holistic place, they were saying, and I don't know. That's the thing I think too. We know too little about stuff, because they were talking about you shouldn't eat meat. Like you said, it's bad for your health and stuff. And I have like an eating disorder. So it's like maybe yeah. Maybe I want to come to that point.
So many people are in different walks of life. You know, I can't put myself in everyone's home and position, but we do need to be mindful that's why I said when you come to that conclusion yourself, life's going to change. Because then you decided, you're like, I want to regain control of this. I've decided to do this, which is, I can only tell you so much. You are the people that are going to be the ones that make that decision for yourself. But I do have this for you, which is really good. We have, are you from Denmark?
No, Sweden.
Okay, it's Sweden. So we have so many, do you have Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a lot of Netflix documentaries and YouTube series. Highly recommend if you're interested in the health side of it. What the Health was my favorite documentary on Netflix. It's not graphic. I think there might be one scene where you see animals being brought into a farm, but nothing graphic. All it talks about is animal products on our health. It talks to some of the leading doctors in the world. Like, it's really amazing to just see another side of animal agriculture. We also have 101 Reasons to Go Vegan on YouTube. Dairy is Scared. So much powerful resource here. And then if you needed help, which is what I needed, we have Vegan 22, and then here's a Danish one, but that might not be well for you. Vegan 22, do you have Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a free 22-day vegan challenge on Facebook. It puts you in a group with people who are doing the challenge together, and then there's mentors, like someone like myself. I'm not a mentor, but there will be mentors in there so that you can ask a question, where do I get enough protein from this? Is there a restaurant in my area? Do you have a 7-day meal plan? Like, does someone have this information for me? Because we all know what it's like to have someone on our side, someone helping us.
It's easier when you have someone on your side.
Exactly. Because do you think signing up for a challenge like that is something that would be easier for you?
I think so. I think I'm more. I would do it better if I do it with someone else. It's hard for me to do something.
Is that a hint?
We'll see.
And the thing is, this is what I motivate and give some inspiration for people. Sign up on Facebook. It's the easiest thing to do. Put yourself in that group. It's a 22-day challenge. They say it takes 21 days to break a habit. Try it for 22 days. It gives you inspiration. It gives you motivation. It gives you meal plans. There's mentors in there. Because the least that we can do, I feel, is 22 days to try something that's, one, going to be beneficial for our own health. Like, if you start eating whole food, plant-based, you're going to be healthier for yourself. Then for those 22 days, it's also more positive to know that you're not contributing to that. And also you're not contributing to the environment negatively, which is, I keep that thought in my mind. Every time I look at those screens, that's what gives me my drive. So look at this. This is an amazing resource, and always remember Vegan22. It'll take you to that Facebook website. It's so powerful to be able to look into that, and I really, really appreciate this conversation. Yeah, and what's your name? Amanda Joshua. Yeah, thank you. What's your name? Philip. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah, have a great one. Yeah, bye.